It was a dark and stormy night. I'm playing. I'm not doing that. No, for real. This book is called Notes from Your Therapist. I went, of course, on a trip to Barnes and Nobles like I usually try to do, at least, once every 2 to 3 weeks. But yes, as you can see here, oh, I gotta go get my laundry. Oh no, it's my other alarm. Anyway, so I got this book from Barnes and Nobles because I was looking for something that was relatively going to inspire me and something that I felt was going to hit my heart, but in the right way. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but honestly, it's like a bunch of Instagram posts with like quotes and stuff. So it's not a typical, psychology book. Good God. Would you believe I was an English major? But anyway, I wanted to read you guys some of the quotes that I have on here because it hits. Like, I know I talk about therapy a lot more than I used to because I feel like, especially in the Black community and just the POC community, I don't feel that we talk about it enough, that sometimes you really need to understand that it's okay to seek help. It really is okay. And I wish that it was more acceptable. In the Black community, I feel like we just always go by the saying, oh, you'll be all right. Oh, you don't have a problem. Like, no, you do have a problem, and a generational problem at that. But this isn't about to be that type of conversation, okay? I don't want to do that in today's video. But honestly, today is, as you can see here, I got a little mic. Actually, I did record a video earlier, but I think that this somehow, some way messed up my freaking phone because it was glitching, sending messages to people, but that's beside the point. But anyway, I wanted to read you guys a few quotes from this book, and it is by Allyson Dinneen. I hope I'm saying her name right. Allyson Dinneen, Notes from Your Therapist. So these are all tabs of ones that I felt were very impactful, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So let's see. I want to go to like some random one. Let's see. I feel so much better just talking it out with someone who says, without words, I'm not going anywhere. I find that so ironic because I realize that the older I have become, I realized loyalty is number one in my book. And that's why I feel like I struggle a lot with just friendships and relationships, situationships, and just people in general, because you sometimes never really know where people's loyalties lie. And this can pertain to anything. And I feel like a lot of it can just stem from your family. Not that I'm blaming my family, but I'm just saying that there are certain points in the life where we have to learn to grow up, which actually leads to the next one. When I grew up, you were supposed to do what you were told and not ask questions, but I had questions. Jesus, this was the first one. And I feel this was essentially like, yo, it had me thinking, like, what the fuck? This is me, like, to the T. I always asked questions. I always complained about shit. But, even today, while we were taking a test, I was freaking complaining. But at the same time, I feel like life is about asking questions. Even if you feel like it's the wrong question, just ask something, because you just never know. Sometimes things that are meant to be simple are actually complicated, and vice versa. It seems complicated, but it's actually a simple solution. So it just depends. All right, this one. In my family, we never talked about feelings. We just shared information about things that were not us. Yeah, that definitely resonates. Like I said, in the Black community, we have a problem to think that we don't have a problem. But it's something that I feel like a lot of this new generation is actually attacking more so because they're trying to stem away from the stereotypical idea that therapy is not necessary, or medication or antidepressants. Like, these type of things can help you and help people. What's another one? I didn't know we could talk about conflict. I grew up watching people stop talking about things the minute anyone got upset or started to disagree. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but that's okay. Jesus have mercy. Because oh, that is so true. I regrettably have this trait in me. I am sometimes, a lot of people, I come off as very aggressive or assertive when you first meet me sometimes, or even sometimes in conversation, but it's never my intention. Okay, I'm not gonna say never, but my intention usually isn't as aggressive as it's portrayed to be. And believe it or not, I try to be passive aggressive because I don't like to argue with people. It may seem like it, but it's more of a playful argument. But after a while, I just don't want to be bothered by it. And in doing so, I started building up this, I let shit build up and I just stop. I just stop whenever I feel some type of way, and I just let that accumulate and build and realize holding shit in is 10 times worse than you will ever freaking know. What am I, the 6-minute mark? Okay. I can tell I'm not really listening to you if I'm already planning my response in my head. Whew. Damn, that definitely resonates. Sometimes I don't think before I speak. And I learned this, especially when I talk to my therapist and everything like that. And when I vent, I realize that when it comes to venting, or when it comes to arguing with someone, talking with someone, you can find yourself in that situation where you're not actually listening to the person. You're just trying to make a response rather than listen to what needs. Not okay. I said that wrong. I hope you get what I mean. You need to listen. I forgot the quote, but in a conversation, it's necessary to listen and then respond. Vice, just like the quote said, I can tell I'm not really listening to you if I'm already planning my response in my head. Because that used to be a problem I had a lot. Sometimes it's still a thing. All right, let's do 3 more. Ooh, here's a good one. It's hard to know how to deal with conflict or intense emotions if you grew up with adults who couldn't handle it themselves, so they didn't show you how. Emotion skills are learned from watching and practicing, but sometimes we got more practice in placating anger, blame, or shutting down. And I had a conversation with my sister once, and one of the things that we both came to the conclusion, like, our parents do what they can at the time, what's best for us and the family, and as we get older, we realize, like, we become that generation trying to do what's best for our younger generation. You get what I mean? Like the domino effect of everybody. And I feel like I would not have been able to grow up in the lifestyle that my parents did because of just everything, like everything about the 80s. I couldn't do it personally, and in the 70s. So I can definitely say that sometimes we have to be forgiving to our family or anyone who, I'm not going to say all the time, because there are some family, not, okay, I'll say this. There are some people out there that have family members that have made it very difficult to heal from. And I'm a believer in, you bring toxicity in my life, poof, you gone. Like, that's it. I don't need that in my life, especially now in my current state of mind and the way that I'm growing and building. So that's going to be an absolute no. So, but when it comes to certain family members or certain people who we grow up with, friends, whatever be the case, sometimes you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes and kind of understand, well, attempt to, like, nobody's ever going to fully understand somebody's perspective all the time, like some white people will never know what it feels like to walk in black skin. We already know that. And that's what I mean. Like, you will never fully know how somebody's life or mindset about things are going to be, but you can try when it comes to certain things. So specifically with this quote, I feel like we grow up and we learn and we see what, when you're kids, obviously, you adapt to what you see and everything like that. So as you get older, you subconsciously and consciously develop these habits. And all in all, I feel sometimes that it's the branching away that's always the difficult part. I think one of the last examples I want to say is people who learn multiple languages. It's always easier, they say, to teach a child another language vice an adult, because their brain is still developing. And I feel like that's the same thing can be said. When we get older, we start getting deep in our habits, and it's not always the best thing to do. But yeah, so yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Let me see. No, not that one. What a good one. Good last one. This is the gem. Probably my entire relationship to grief and things that happened long ago can be summed up as is. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I forget. Oh my Lord. That is completely relatable. Sometimes you remember the pain you feel, and then sometimes you forget, but then you hate that you forget. It's weird. It's contradictory, but it makes so much sense. And it's not even only pertaining to grief. It could really be anything. It could genuinely be anything. And one last one, because I'm already at the 12-minute mark. When I watch someone habitually shame other people, I know I'm watching a child who was deeply controlled by shame. I recognize that distress anywhere. And I've said this before. I felt a lot of shame about a lot of different things because of the surroundings in which I grew up in. When I grew up in a Catholic church, everything was pretty strict and religious and, timely, and these kids were horrible. And then when I went to public school, it was just as bad, but in a different degree because I wasn't exposed to anything, but at the end of the day, you learn. Nobody's ever really going to have a perfect childhood, and I feel when people bully others, especially online, I genuinely hate it so bad because I myself was bullied consistently all the time. And I guess that's why I feel a sense of, I don't want to say duty, but a sense of remorse, because I've been on that end. You know what I mean? And I try or don't want other people to feel that way, but that's a different conversation for another day. Trying to take on other people's problems and guilt is not my goddamn problem. But, when you live and you learn. So that's a wrap for today's, I love this mic. That is a wrap for today's vlog. See you guys tomorrow. Deuces.